features buzzing startups. I'm Vikram Oza. Now, the fact that food is big business in India, it's a well-established fact. And from the startup space, it's easy to assume that it's becoming even bigger right now. According to an estimate by 2020 that I've got, the food industry is expected to reach $36 billion and this by the year 2020. So, hardly surprising that we see a number of venture capitalists and private equity funds backing all kinds of business models within that space, whether it's a QSR or a food delivery app or food aggregators. Over the last half decade, the number of startups in the food business, that has been rising quite rapidly. And within that is our rising star today called Yumlane. This is a digital FMCG food brand that wants to be the Coke of food, like he says. Founder and CEO Hitesh Ahuja is joining us on the show. Great to have you with us, Hitesh.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, what you're trying to create with Yumlane, you're offering food to the fast and furious, as it were. Tell me what exactly you have in mind. What are the kind of products that you're putting out there? Because it's only been 7 months or so that you've been up and running.
Right. So I think we clearly are looking at the whole unorganized segment, which is a large plethora, starting with snacks within snacks, momos, which is largely a very big market in our view. And within momos, we've got variants like the crazy cheesy momos, silly chili momos. Apart from that, pizzas, which is a huge youth attraction these days.
Yeah.
Within that, we've got various variants, and of course there is meals which we think offer a large gamut. Again, we started off with the famous triple Szechuan rice. We started off with the noodle and gravy.
Yeah.
And the,
I'm
and
seeing
the
one of your
rice
packets right there as well. So you're putting them on shelves as of now, and obviously people can buy digitally as well, but that is the larger game plan. At this point in time, you have a certain number of retailers. How many have you got on board so far?
So we've been able to work with close to 200 retailers in the general trade segment. We are working with Hypercity in the organized trade segment, and soon enough we expect to sort of roll out and penetrate Bombay within this year.
Sure.
And that number should be in multiple thousands with respect to that.
But since inception, you've had like 2 rounds of funding, and you've managed to raise like $1 billion by way of funding, is that?
Yeah.
So
$1 million, yeah.
That's great as a starting point, and I know that a lot of it has been directed towards marketing and just making your presence that much more. Tell me, how difficult was it to kind of go about funding? Because you've been on the VC and the PE side of it. You've been in part of the food business as well. You were with Cafe Coffee Day, so it became easier for you. Was it tough?
Well, I think clearly investors are looking for unit economic healthy models, business models, and with the time one spent in the industry, we knew how to sort of get to that, and the team obviously behind all of us, which is what is making this possible. With respect to investors, I think clearly they've been supportive right through the idea stage, and despite the winters, as we call it, clearly there has been enough and more interest because of the lean model, and hopefully the sort of right mix of people trying to create a brand.
So what was the line that kind of blew them away? Because you have the likes of Binny Bansal, and you've got Anupam Mittal on board as some of your key investors. So what was it that they really saw in the business?
So unlike before, I mean, except for Maggie in 1982, there hasn't been any innovation one has really seen at scale. I think the aspiration of Coke of food is more to do with scale and the whole packaging which one sort of has worked with to make this possible, to make this available at all the retail points. And we clearly know we have 9 million retail points in the country, which is making us the largest retail penetrated country in the world.
True.
And that really was the selling point, if you will,
yes,
with respect to that.
That would work. And also you've decided to go asset light, right? Because you don't manufacture any of your products yourself. So you've got these vendors who kind of you work with, but the quality control is in your hands, from what I understand. So how does that work?
So certainly, I think this has been already done before with the FMCG giants you see, which are listed.
The Nestle,
the Nestle Dynamics, HUL has many plants. So 60% of Britannia is co-packers. So clearly, you have many and large facilities which are in their core domain of manufacturing. Asset light is clearly a way startups should function. Asset light and human light, as we call it.
Yes.
With respect to how we think about this. And I don't call them vendors, but these are manufacturing partners who see a common goal with respect to how far this platform can go.
So one wonders why they're not doing it themselves.
Well, fair point. I think clearly you've sort of seen many people dabble in both the supply and the demand and not get anywhere. That's happened time and again in the past. I think that the two sides of the story are very different. One is reaching out to consumers and another is reaching out to businesses, so B2B and B2C.
Yes.
So many B2B and B2C mixed models have not succeeded. So I think the vendors who are sort of evolved or have large balance sheet size, they understand the strength of being at their core, and I think we as a startup have been fortunate to find and work with these. Having said that, the market is huge. We are talking about close to $40 billion of market,
yes.
Which is 95% of that is unorganized.
Yes.
So you really have, you really have enough and more for everyone to play.
So penetration is going to be the key, right? To make your products available out there. Digital is one way to go, but if you're looking at that kind of scalability, then at this time, I don't know how you're working, because that $1 million that you kind of raised, I'm sure you need much more to make sure that distribution is completely where it needs to be to make it grow at the pace that you'd want to.
Totally, and I think that's really when one looks at an FMCG venture, right from the start, even the homegrown ventures like Imami, etc., reached 2 million points. So,
yes.
So this is a many decade-long plan with respect to how we think about this. Patanjali is at about 2 million at this point. So
and
clearly,
they're setting the benchmark, as it were, isn't that right? Would you say that?
That was the disruption which really
yes.
has taken the giants by storm. So with respect to how we see the whole market of food and the retail network, which is 94% of FMCG sales via retail unorganized. Thankfully, that's been regimented for a good 5-6 decades. So you really are tapping into the right distributors up country and in the country within the urban towns and cities.
Right.
So thankfully, that's not really been if the product and the offering is right and the pricing is right, I think there's enough and more availability to sort of get to the shelves.
Right. So how soon before break-even happens and when profitability kind of kicks in, when do you see this entire dynamics work out in your favor?
So clearly, because of being asset light, we have certain advantages on the expenses side, which will definitely help us with respect to discussions. We clearly think with respect to break even, we are very conscious about what's the pricing and what's the costing. And on that front, we are very comfortably shaped. With how far will this go is a function of when to stop the growth button.
You haven't set the targets yet?
Well, clearly, I think with respect to a city-wise break-even, it typically takes between 3 to 5 years
yes.
to get to a city-wise break-even. But one presses the national button, clearly the break-even stretch. And as long as every unit you sell
yes.
remains gross margin positive, you are comfortably shaped.
But when you talk about these retail outlets, the competition is only growing across the kind of products that we have on those shelves. So getting that space over there, getting noticed, and then making sure that people are picking up and wanting more of it, that remains the end goal. But we wish you great luck going ahead from here. That 70 rupee price product sitting on your table over there, perhaps the pricing is where it's at as well. So great luck going ahead. Great to have you with us, Hitesh Ahuja, our rising star today. And that's where we are wrapping it up on this edition. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.